Many moons ago, I worked as a teller at a bank. Now, working at a bank, you encounter some ridiculous situations. The bank that I worked at was situated in a busy mall parking lot, so we were always busy. I figured out quickly that I was in for some absurd conversations after this one particular customer in my first or second week of the job. This big guy walked in. 6'5", probably 300 pounds, twice my age and 3 times my size. He stepped up to my window and shouted, "I'd like $10,000 in cash." He probably thought that he was speaking normally, but his voice was as loud as a Metallica concert. It boomed around the bank. Everyone stared at him. My branch manager, sitting in the opposite corner, looked up like, wow, just wow. Now, in case you've never worked in a bank, we usually don't have 10 grand just sitting around to give to one customer. We can handle 1, 2, 3 grand or so, but if someone wants several $1,000s, it's best to schedule it in advance because banks have to have cash delivered. I walked over to my supervisor so we could see if we could scrounge up 10 grand for this one dude, and it was his lucky day because we did have it on hand. This time, I ran it through the cash machine and banded it right in front of him before bringing it to him. Now, after he was just booming on about how he wanted $10,000 so loudly that everyone in the lobby knew that he was about to walk out as loaded as a drug dealer, he leaned over the counter and whispered, "I don't want to attract attention. Could we go somewhere private to count it out?" And he didn't just want me to count the sets that are banded together. He wanted me to unband all $10,000 and count it out bill by bill. And it wasn't just hundreds either. It was a mix of Benjamins, 50s, and 20s, probably some 5s and 10s too. Then he wanted me to take it back behind the counter and reband it. I was shocked. I didn't even know where to start. Wait, you shouted that you wanted $10,000 in cash. Now you want privacy because you're afraid of getting mugged, and you waited until after I banded all these bills right in front of you to tell me that you want it hand counted in front of you? But I didn't even get to say that because my supervisor walked back over. She wasn't one bit surprised. She had learned long before I was hired that banks attract a lot of people who sometimes don't make sense. She took the cash, and another employee joined her and the customer in a private room to count the money out discreetly so that nobody would know. A week later, I figured out that that experience was not a one-off. I got called in on my day off, and it didn't take long. My 5th customer of the day. "I'd like $12,000 in cash." $12,000? And he looks at me like I'm an idiot. This is a bank. Of course people are going to come in and ask for however much money they want. In his mind, bank equals never-ending source of money. I'll see if we can put it together. He's still looking at me like I'm a moron. Little does he know, I'm not the moron. I get my supervisor. Come to think of it, a lot of our conversations started with me telling her a customer wanted large volumes of cash in a lump sum without any advance notice. We returned to the counter to explain that we didn't have $12K, but we could give him $5,000 or $6,000 and call another branch nearby and see if they could provide the rest of the cash. He started shouting about how he didn't need to drive anywhere else because we just printed the money in the back. Really? In this rink-a-dink building? Where is the printing machine going to fit? Our break room? My supervisor explained to him that banks don't print money, we got it delivered. He argued with her and accused her of lying to him because she didn't want to do the work of printing his money. He kept being a jerk to her until he saw my face, frozen in an expression of... He suddenly decided that we were telling the truth, took his $6 grand, and headed to the next branch. The end.